Welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to be explaining why I believe in Gnosis, but I am not a Gnostic. Let's go. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this video is I get a lot of comments from Christians who are always saying like, oh, this guy's a Gnostic, he believes in Gnosticism. And also get some comments from people more favorably saying towards, yeah, I kind of agree with the Gnostic view, it makes much more sense. And my personal view is I do agree with Gnosis, but I do not agree with Gnosticism, the idea of Gnosticism. And Gnosis is just knowing God, and it's experiencing God, which is basically just standard spirituality, which I believe in. I believe in standard spirituality and spiritual teachings that has been taught by Jesus Christ. It is taught in Buddhism, it is taught in Hinduism, it is taught in most spiritual traditions, or all spiritual and mystical traditions, even within Judaism, Islam and Christianity. Because you have like, I don't know if it's the Kabbalah in Judaism, you have the Sufi Muslims, and you also have like the Gnostics or the early Gnosis Christians or the mystic Christians. So you've had spirituality in even all of the religions. And that's what I believe in. I believe in experiencing and knowing God rather than a dogmatic belief about God. And when I was doing my research into Gnosticism, one of the top comments was Gnostics primarily believe that each person should have their own experience of God or anything else. Dogma and doctrine were held to be undesirable, and that I completely agree with. And also another comment on here says, I think you forgot the most important thing about Gnostics. Gnosis means experiential knowledge. The Gnostics were more interested in actual communion or experience of God rather than a belief system or doctrine. This is why they were called the Gnostics. And again, I agree with that. I believe in Gnosis, but this is where I disagree with the actual idea of Gnosticism. And the part I disagree with, as this gentleman was explaining in the video, is that apparently Gnostics believe that this world is a lesser, somewhat evil world, and that the physical world is evil. And that Jesus was sent from the higher God. So the God of Judaism was an evil God. And the true Father sent Jesus to save us from the demiurge, something along those lines, and to restore us to the true Father. And our goal is to spiritually resurrect away from this evil world, and then we'll go to be with our Heavenly Father and Christ. And that I don't really agree with. I believe it's sort of half true. I basically do not believe that this is an evil world. I believe the truth is simple, that there is a Heavenly Father, a spiritual creator, and that I simply believe that he created this world with contrast. So it has to have light and dark, it has to have good and evil, it has to have up, down. So it has to have opposites of everything. So in this world, he's perfect and he is light. But in this world, he's got the light, which Christ and the Spirit represent. And then you've got the opposite, because you have to have an opposite. So you've got the Antichrist, which is the opposite of Christ, which is also referred to as Satan or the dark. Now, I don't believe that this world is evil. I believe this world is neutral and it has possibilities for good and evil. And depending on the cycle of the time we're living in, it's going to be easier for good to flourish, and other times it's going to be easier for darkness to flourish. Just for example, we have on an average day 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of darkness. So when it's light, it's going to be easier for the light to be in favor. When the sun goes down, it's easier for the darkness to be in favor. And the way our planetary system and creation has been set up, when we are close to the light in terms of our planetary system, it's easier for us to be in an age of enlightenment and close to God. When we move away from the darkness, as what the Hindus talk about the Kali Yuga, and in Christian and Judaism they talk about the end times, it's easier for the darkness to portray. But as in Hinduism, when they say we reach the end of the Kali Yuga and we move into the lighter Yuga, and in Christian terms or Judaism terms, when Christ comes back or the Messiah comes back, the Messianic age, then we'll be in the light. It's all about contrast. So this is not a place where the flesh is evil and we must escape it. No, it's just a place of contrast, and it's just a cycle of life. It will go through like the 4 seasons of a year. You have summer, winter, spring, autumn. That's how we are in spiritual terms as well. We'll just slowly go through each cycle where things will get bad and then things will get better, 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 be amazing, and then they'll gradually get worse as we go through cycle and cycle and cycle. And we'll just exist through that. That's the way I see our world and creation. So that's where I disagree with the Gnostics. I do not believe this is an evil world. I believe it's neutral, and I can see the genius of the Creator's creation. But I do agree with Gnosis, which is basically just standard spirituality. And a lot of people will criticize it, saying they think they've got some secret knowledge. But the way I see it is, it's not that there's secret knowledge, it's spiritual wisdom, standard spiritual wisdom. So when Paul talks of secret knowledge in the Bible, he should have been referring to standard spiritual wisdom, which Jesus Christ taught. And when you're truly born again of the Spirit and you receive just a tiny bit of that hidden knowledge or standard spiritual wisdom, the world won't necessarily be able to get it. Just like when I was completely blind, and even when I was initially waking up, when I heard people's spiritual wisdom, I didn't really get it. But when I truly started to be born again spiritually, things that said before that made no sense, all of a sudden the words made sense because I could see it with my spiritual eyes rather than my blinded eyes. Okay, so that's me clarifying my position on Gnostics. And I'm always accused of being a Gnostic, and I'm here to clarify and to say that I am not a Gnostic and I do not agree with their belief, but I do believe in Gnosis. And just the final point is, for Gnostics to have a belief that this world is evil or whatever, again, that's falling into like a dogmatic belief to come to a random conclusion. Somewhat. I mean, people could accuse me of coming to a dogmatic belief the way I view God. But ultimately, the goal is to receive and work towards Gnosis, or spiritual awakening, or being reborn again spiritually, enlightenment, and getting close to God. That's the only thing that really matters. The rest of it is irrelevant, really. It's how we live and how close we can get to God in this world, in my opinion. The rest, all we can really do is have faith and understand that the spiritual Father has a plan, and as long as we awaken and get close to Him, we can follow the path towards serving Him rather than getting lost in delusional beliefs. Okay, so that's the end of this video today. Usual stuff, like the video if you like it. Comment below if you have any other ideas on Gnosticism or any ideas relating to the subject, and subscribe for more if you are a new viewer. God bless everyone. Goodbye.